I never thought a simple trip to the mall would flip my whole life upside down, but right there, in the fitting room, I heard my husband whisper something that made my blood run cold. She has no idea the loan went through. I was standing there holding up this ridiculously cute dress, laughing at myself in the mirror, thinking, yeah, this actually looks good on me, when the door cracked open just a little. I thought it was one of the sales associates checking on me, but no, it was him, my husband. He leaned in just enough so only I could hear, and that's when I caught it, the whisper. My heart literally skipped. I froze mid-laugh, staring at my reflection, pretending I hadn't heard anything. But I did, every word. And right then, something in me shifted. Something told me, this isn't just about a stupid loan or money. This is bigger. Way bigger. I backed out slowly, keeping my eyes on him. He looked normal, almost casual, but there was this weird tension in his shoulders, like he was carrying a secret too heavy to hold. I remember walking out of the fitting room, trying to act casual, heart pounding like crazy. I wanted to confront him right there, scream, demand answers, but a tiny part of me kept thinking, maybe I imagined it. Maybe he was talking to someone else on the phone, or I don't know. But the gut feeling, that instinct every woman knows that something was off, was screaming at me. By the time we got back to the car, I was shaking, and that's when he smiled at me, all charming, like nothing happened. And I couldn't even look at him straight. I needed answers, and I needed them fast. We've been married for 7 years. 7 years of what I thought was a normal life. Bills, dinners, weekend trips, Netflix nights. Nothing flashy, nothing dramatic. Just us. Or so I thought. Lately, though, things had felt different. Small things. The way he checked his phone when I walked into the room. Random late-night texts he'd delete quickly. That one time I saw a bank notification pop up on his phone, and he quickly locked it. I'd brushed it off. I told myself, don't be paranoid. But deep down, something always nagged me, whispering, he's hiding something. And now I had proof. Not in the form of a text, a bank alert, or a weird message, but in the sound of his own voice, whispering a secret meant to stay hidden. I spent the next hour replaying it in my head. She has no idea the loan went through. What loan? Why would he be whispering about it? Who was she? And most importantly, what did that mean for us? I tried calling my best friend to vent, but my hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped the phone. Instead, I ended up driving aimlessly, replaying that moment over and over. Every time I thought I had a theory, my mind spiraled deeper into fear and confusion. And here's the thing about secrets. When someone you love is hiding something huge, you can feel it in the air. It's like a shadow hanging over every conversation, every smile, every normal day. I couldn't escape it. By the time I got home, I had made a silent promise to myself. I would find out what that loan was and who she was. No matter what, little did I know. The truth I was about to uncover would turn my world upside down in ways I could never imagine. You think you know someone, but when I started putting the pieces together, I realized my husband wasn't the man I thought I married, and what I found next made my stomach drop. After that fitting room moment, I couldn't sleep. I kept tossing and turning, replaying his whisper over and over. She has no idea the loan went through. Every time I closed my eyes, I imagined him with someone else, hiding money, planning something behind my back. By morning, I knew I couldn't just sit there. I had to do something. First step? Check the obvious. The bank statements. I waited until he left for work, heart hammering in my chest. I slipped into his study and opened his laptop. Normally, he'd leave it locked, but today, maybe luck was on my side. Maybe fate was cruel. The screen lit up, and there it was. Multiple loan approvals, all in someone else's name. Someone I didn't recognize. My hands shook so badly I almost dropped the laptop. Who was he giving money to? And why? I knew I couldn't just yell at him and I had to play it smart. I texted him a casual question about dinner plans, anything to make sure he came home without suspicion. When he walked through the door later, I acted normal. Too normal, maybe. "Hey, babe," I said, smiling. "Long day?" He smiled back, that practiced smile I had once loved. "Yeah, crazy. You?" "Same," I said, holding back the tremor in my voice. I watched him. Every movement, every glance, every small twitch, and then I dropped it casually. "So, that loan thing. Just curious. Who's it for?" For a split second, I saw panic flash across his face, almost too quick to catch. Then he shrugged. Some charity thing. You know me." "Charity?" My gut screamed bullshit. Over the next few days, I started noticing small things that didn't make sense. Random phone calls he'd take in the garage, whispering too quietly for me to hear. Emails from someone named M that he quickly deleted. A credit card statement for a boutique I had never even heard of, with huge purchases. I started keeping a mental log. Every little secret he tried to hide was like a breadcrumb, and every breadcrumb made my stomach twist tighter and tighter. I even started watching him like a hawk, trying not to seem obvious, but my paranoia was growing. The man I married? He was becoming a stranger. I couldn't handle this alone. I reached out to my best friend, Mia. She's always been my rock, the one who tells it like it is. We met at a cafe. As soon as I sat down, I blurted it out. "Mia, I think my husband's hiding something massive, something with money, maybe another woman. I don't know." She frowned, sipping her coffee. "Girl, calm down. You're sure you're not overthinking it?" "No," I snapped. "I heard him, I swear, in the fitting room. He whispered it." Mia leaned back, eyes wide. "Okay, that's serious. You need proof before you go nuclear." "Proof," I muttered. "Yeah, that's exactly what I need." That night, I started digging quietly. Emails, statements, even old receipts. And then I found something that made my blood run cold. A hotel receipt. Not just any hotel one I recognized, the one downtown near his office. The receipt was for 2 nights. And the name on it wasn't mine. I couldn't breathe. My chest felt like it was going to explode. My hands were clammy, my mind racing 1,000 miles per hour. And then, just when I thought I might faint, my phone buzzed. It was him, a text. "Where are you?" I froze. How could I act normal after what I had just discovered? I realized something terrifying. I wasn't just dealing with hidden money. I was dealing with a secret life. And the closer I got to the truth, the more dangerous it felt. I had to decide, do I confront him now, risk everything, or keep digging and find out the full story first? Either way, there was no turning back. Just when I thought it couldn't get worse, I started noticing things that didn't add up, and every little lie he told me was about to explode in my face. The next morning, I woke up with one goal: find out exactly what that loan was and who she was. I watched him over breakfast. Casual, normal, but every little move screamed guilt. The way he sipped his coffee, the way he avoided eye contact, the slight tremor in his hands when he reached for his wallet. It all screamed something's wrong. I tried to play it cool. "Babe, did you hear back from that loan thing?" I asked casually, keeping my tone light. He froze, just for a second, but I caught it. Yeah. "Everything's fine," he said, a little too quickly. I smiled, but inside I was counting down the seconds until I could dig deeper. Over the next few days, I started noticing patterns I hadn't before. He suddenly became extra protective of his phone, always turning the screen away from me. Random emails and messages that disappeared almost as soon as they came in. Late-night drives, coming back just in time for breakfast like nothing happened. Each tiny thing added up like pieces of a puzzle, and I was determined to put it together. One evening, I noticed him getting a call from a number I didn't recognize. He whispered a name I couldn't hear, but it sounded familiar, like he was talking to someone he didn't want me to know about. I started keeping a notebook, every date, every call, every suspicious action. The truth was hiding in plain sight, and I wasn't going to miss it. I decided I had to push him carefully, not in anger, not yet, just enough to see cracks in his story. "So, that boutique shopping spree last weekend," I said casually, "was that for someone else?" He stiffened. His eyes flicked to mine. "No. Why would you think that?" I shrugged, pretending not to care. Just curious. Some of the charges looked unusual. He hesitated, and that hesitation told me more than any lie ever could. Late that night, I couldn't sleep. My curiosity had turned into obsession. I quietly grabbed his laptop again, and that's when I found it, a folder labeled with a name I didn't recognize. Inside, dozens of documents, emails, and confirmations for the loan. And the kicker? It wasn't a normal loan, it was a massive sum. Enough to change someone's life. And then I saw it. A series of messages between him and someone named Madeline, not just casual chats, planning, coordinating, keeping the whole thing a secret from me. I sank into the couch, heart pounding. My husband, my partner for 7 years, was living a double life. I wanted to scream, to confront him right then, but another part of me wanted to understand everything first. Who is Madeline? What does she have to do with this loan? Why didn't he tell me? I felt torn. Part of me was furious, part of me was scared, and part of me still loved him. That's the worst part about secrets. They twist your emotions until you don't even know what's real. I made a plan: observe, collect proof, and confront when I was ready. I wasn't going to let him gaslight me or twist the story. This time, I would be in control. The next day, he left for work as usual. I stayed behind, going through every document, every email, every little breadcrumb he left behind. And then, I found something that made my stomach drop. A note, hidden in the folder, addressed to me, but not meant for me to see yet. It said one thing: if she ever finds out, everything falls apart. And in that moment, I realized the truth about this loan, about Madeline, and about my husband's secret life was going to shatter everything I thought I knew. I had spent days chasing shadows, but nothing prepared me for what I was about to find. The truth was bigger, darker, and more twisted than I ever imagined. I woke up that morning with one thought: I couldn't ignore this anymore. Every text, every email, every suspicious detail had led me here. It was time to dig deeper. And then I found it, a full breakdown of the loan. The money wasn't for a charity, not even remotely. It was for Madeline, helping her start a business, pay off debts, secure a place far away. Without me knowing, I felt my stomach drop. This wasn't just betrayal. This was calculated. And it wasn't just about money, it was about deception, manipulation, and a life he had built in parallel to ours. As I dug further, I found receipts, hotel bookings, and even messages that suggested he had been coordinating this for months. My mind raced, trying to understand how I didn't notice. Late-night phone calls now made sense. Sudden work trips that never added up. I knew I couldn't just explode on him yet. I needed to control this. I needed to plan how to confront him. I made a mental checklist. Gather all evidence: emails, receipts, bank statements. Prepare questions that would make him reveal the full story. Stay calm, no matter what, I told myself repeatedly. Do not let him gaslight you. Do not let him manipulate the narrative. This is your truth. Then something even more shocking appeared. Buried deep in the messages was a note from Madeline herself. Everything is set. He doesn't suspect a thing. Soon, I'll have what I need. My hands went cold. It wasn't just about the loan. There was a bigger plan at play. My husband wasn't just hiding money. He was actively orchestrating a secret life that could completely destroy everything we had built. And worse, I realized. I wasn't just an observer anymore. I was part of it. Every decision he made in secret affected me directly. I felt a swirl of emotions: anger, betrayal, fear, sadness. But beneath it all was a sharp, burning clarity. I had to confront him, but I had to do it on my terms. Not in a rage, not in panic, but in a way that would expose everything. I spent the evening organizing the evidence, documenting the timeline, and mentally rehearsing how I would face him. Every detail mattered. Every slip he ever made was now part of the puzzle. By the time he walked in that night, I was ready. He smiled, completely unaware that the walls were closing in. I looked at him and thought, you can try to hide this from me, but tonight, the truth comes out. And in that moment, I knew our lives were about to change forever. The moment had finally come, the night I confronted him, and everything he'd been hiding would be laid bare. I wasn't sure if I was ready, but I had to be. He walked in, humming some tune, completely casual. I could feel my pulse hammering in my ears. I waited until he settled in, then took a deep breath. So, I started slowly, making him look up, about the loan. His face twitched just slightly, but enough to tell me he knew I knew. What about it? He asked, trying to keep his tone light. I leaned forward, keeping my voice calm but steady. You know exactly what I mean. The loan for Madeline. There, I said it. The name hung in the air like a punch to the gut. He froze, then chuckled nervously. What are you talking about? Madeline? I held up the evidence: emails, receipts, messages, every breadcrumb he'd left behind. Don't play dumb. I have everything. Every lie, every hidden payment, every hotel stay. I know exactly what you've been doing. His face went pale. For a moment, I thought he might try to run, but he just slumped into the chair across from me. Look, it's not what you think, he said, voice shaking. I just wanted to help her out. It wasn't like what? I interrupted, voice rising. You lied to me for months. You orchestrated a secret life behind my back. Do you even realize what that does to me? To us? I trusted you, I said, my voice breaking, and all of this, you didn't just hide money. You hid your life from me. He looked down, ashamed. No excuses left, no lies strong enough to cover it. I felt tears welling up, anger boiling, betrayal crashing down all at once. I wanted to scream, cry, throw things. Maybe I did a little of everything. He reached for me, trying to explain, apologize. I stopped him. No, just listen. Listen to how much you've hurt me. And then it hit me. Everything I had suspected, every sleepless night, every gut feeling, every whisper in the fitting room, it was all real. Madeline, the loan, the secret hotel stays. Every single detail was true. I realized that night that things would never be the same. I had choices: forgive, leave, or figure out a way to rebuild trust, if that was even possible. We argued, cried, and yelled for hours. The truth was out, but the damage had been done. Every hidden action, every lie, every whisper in that fitting room had created a chasm between us that wasn't easy to bridge. And in the middle of it all, I understood one thing clearly. Sometimes, the people you love most are capable of the most betrayal, and knowing the truth doesn't make it easier. It just makes it unavoidable. By the end of the night, he sat silently, head down, realizing there was no hiding anymore. I sat across from him, exhausted, heart aching, but also strangely empowered. I had the truth. I had the proof. And now, I had the choice to decide what happens next. One thing was certain: nothing would ever be the same again.